just got done training, and today I want to do one of the video topics that was requested. I did an Instagram post looking for some feedback on the content on my channel because I want to be producing content that I love, but also content that you're interested in and some things that you're more interested in knowing about as far as weightlifting or nutrition or life issues in general. I try to be as helpful and informative as possible, so I did take some suggestions, and I've got about 10 ideas for videos that I'm going to be cranking out that I'm excited about because it's coming directly from you guys. Shameless plug for my sponsor Universal, because I'm having a protein shake post-training. This mocha cappuccino is my favorite one. I'm a coffee fanatic, so I really like this flavor, and that's my go-to protein shake right now. Training today was pretty solid. I did 3 sets of 2+1 on power clean and jerk at 87. Double power clean PR is 90, so that was pretty close to my max double for 3 sets. And on the first 2 sets, the second one was super hard, and then on the last set, the first one was hard, and then I killed it on the second one. I don't know. My legs are tired from squats yesterday, so I'm happy with how those looked. Had some snatch grip RDLs, and then a bunch of push press. Volume push press day. Push press is my least favorite movement because I am terrible at it. The video topic request I'm going to be working on today is about motivation, and specifically motivation while training alone. I train by myself every day in my garage gym at home. I would say I train by myself 90% of the time. The only time I am not lifting by myself is when I am traveling to Colorado to train with my team and my coach, Colin. I'm on Ronin Weightlifting. They do offer remote programming if you're looking for that. The only time that I have had full-time in-person coaching is when I went to California, and I moved specifically for that, to get the team aspect in person all the time and to get coaching full-time. And although that didn't work out, it was good for me to know the differences between training alone and training in that kind of environment. So now I feel like I have a bit more knowledge on both areas of that. In the past, I've been a remote athlete, and I have also was a part of Coffee's Gym at one point, which is now closed. And so I've worked with some coaches in person before, but I was still training on my own a lot of the time. So majority of my career, I have been training by myself, so I guess I am somewhat of an expert of the solo training situation. I've kind of narrowed it down to 3 specific things I feel are the most important. I guess I kind of take it for granted that it is difficult to train alone because I've been doing it so long, and so I had to really kind of do some reflecting on like what advice I could give, because it's kind of second nature for me at this point. The first, and I believe the most important thing that I do as an athlete that trains by themselves, is to never sit down. And that is totally against traditional weightlifting like norm or like culture, philosophy, whatever word you want to use there. Most weightlifters sit between every single set, and there is a method to that weirdness why you want to sit down during your workout. And the idea is to rest your legs and to mainly rest your lower back. So if you're one that sits in your workout, in a weightlifting workout, and you don't know why you're sitting, make sure you have a backrest on your chair. Otherwise there's literally no point in you sitting. It's supposed to be so that you can relax your lower back muscles and they can be more ready for the next set. I choose to never sit down because I feel it makes a huge difference in my mental game during the workout to stay more engaged. Now sometimes I do find myself pacing, which is not necessarily the best thing either, because that's kind of building stress for the next set. But I just don't like to sit down. I like to already be thinking about my next set. I immediately change the weights after the set beforehand to get ready for the next set, and my entire rest period is thinking about the cues I want to focus on and thinking about anything I did wrong on the last set that I want to correct on the next set. I feel like I'm spending my time getting ready for my next working set versus going into like a relaxed state of mind. I feel I stay much more present in the workout if I never sit down. And by never sit down, I mean I literally don't sit down. I don't have a chair in my gym. I don't sit down when I go to other gyms. I believe in the last several months, the only time I've sat down in training or in a meet was before my all-time clean and jerk PR and before my third attempts at the meet at the Arnold. This is the only times I sit during my weightlifting training. After I had done it for a few months, I saw an article come out by Catalyst, by Greg Everett, that talked about the same things that I'm saying now. And it was kind of something I found on my own, and then I found it really interesting that his point of view was the same on this. And he was like mentioning the cell phone thing too. When you sit down, you're more inclined to like pop out your phone and start scrolling Instagram. And that's the last thing you want to do while you're in the middle of, like, especially a hard workout. You don't want to be looking at other people's lifting or seeing what they had for breakfast. Like, you want to stay engaged in your workout. So even if you find yourself sitting, I advise you stay off of, if not your phone altogether, stay off of Instagram or YouTube. Don't be watching this video between sets. The second thing I find most important to my training when I'm alone is the music. And I don't just mean finding music that's quote unquote motivating. I mean finding music that fits the tone of whatever mindset you're currently in. Something especially in meets that's important to manage is your adrenaline levels, and it's especially hard between the snatch and clean and jerk. You go up on this really big peak for your biggest snatch attempt and your adrenaline is super high, and then you have to go back in the back room and either sit and wait and just kill time while the snatches keep finishing, or you have to start on clean and jerk drills with the empty bar, and that is obviously not as exciting, and it's really hard to learn how to manage that peak and then the drop and then build another peak again. That makes weightlifting pretty difficult, that we have to like gear ourselves up 2 times and have this big drop in the middle. And I believe it's something that can be practiced during training. I try really hard to match my music to whatever mindset I need to be in so that I can work on that adrenaline management. It comes into play especially on my heavy workouts, like if I'm testing my clean and jerk or I have a big snatch double I need to hit that day. I tend to get very excited the moment I walk in the gym, and that's not what you want. That's not when you want any peak happening of excitement. So I try to match the music in my headphones or that's playing in the gym to what my current state needs to be. So I try to turn on like slow jams and chill music for my warm-up so I don't get overly anxious or excited during the warm-up phase, because then I don't have anything left by the time I want to hit that big lift. So for me, the music side of things is more about controlling the energy versus getting all amped up, because you don't want to reach your peak too soon and you have nothing left when you're hitting that big weight at the end of your workout. So I try to let the music kind of build with my workout. So I start with like slow jams and stuff like The Weeknd while I'm doing my warm-up, or Morgan King suggested Coldplay, which I'm gonna try that out soon. And then I switch to like whatever genre I want to listen to. I try to find like tracks that aren't too, I don't really know the word, the beat isn't too fast, I guess is what it is, for like my warm-up sets. And then by the time I start getting into my heavy working sets, then I put on the music that really like gets me going and makes me want to rip the head off of animals and stuff. The third thing I want to talk about is self-talk. And I have developed this skill so well to the point that I actually talk to myself out loud during my training, which sounds a little bit crazy, but I literally am around no one ever while I'm training, and I find myself either giving myself cues out loud or giving myself encouragement out loud, or even critiquing myself out loud, because I guess it doesn't matter and there's nothing to be like embarrassed about it. I have found that it is very easy to go from a positive mindset to a completely negative mindset at the drop of a hat just by one poor thought choice. But the good news is, once you've worked on the self-reflection and observing how your thoughts are like progressing during the workout, you can just as easily go from positive to negative, or go from negative to positive by one thought choice too. So if things aren't going well, you can either dwell on the fact that the workout is not going well so far, or you can turn it around with positive thought. Either start over and strip the weights and build back up again with better technique, focus in on whatever you were doing wrong, or even repeating the same working weight and figuring out a way to get something positive out of it. There have been workouts lately where I've not made any of my working sets that I was assigned, but I'm finding a way to be like, I'm not hitting the amount of reps I'm supposed to be hitting, but this first one I'm nailing it really well. So if I just focus on mimicking it to look like the first one, then maybe I will make it for a double. And if I don't, just finding a way to positively reinforce what I am doing correctly so that the whole workout doesn't fall apart. Because if it's one negative thought after another, the entire workout is gonna be garbage. I guarantee you, it's gonna be garbage. So when I talk about positive self-talk, especially when you're in the moment, you have to find something that you're doing well and say it to yourself so that you don't get into this negative space that will completely ruin your day and ruin anything that you were going to get out of the workout. Even if it wasn't successful, that doesn't mean you're not getting something out of it. This is something that John Coffey would tell me, that every pull you're doing, make or miss, you're still getting stronger from attempting the weight. So even when things are going bad, you don't have to think of it as this day was a waste or I didn't get any better today. And I'm not gonna act like I haven't had those thoughts before and been guilty of that type of attitude before, because I have. That's the only reason I know why that is not a way to get success. It is a way to really pull yourself backwards in progress. Find something positive about even every set, or find a way to turn a negative and spin it into something positive. You will be able to bounce back quicker during your workouts. And there's like so much that can be said about this. So I don't really know how to say it concisely, but I just want to make sure to verbalize the extreme importance of self-talk and the way that you are choosing your thoughts during your training. And I think it is especially important when you're training alone, because there's no one else around to be like, no, that one was a little better. You have to say it to yourself, and you have to believe it too. So those were the three main topics I found that I think would be the most helpful to talk about when it comes to motivation when you're training by yourself. But I also think it's important to note that just because you see people like on the internet in weightlifting, or even in CrossFit and powerlifting and dance, in any category you want to think about, yoga, any fitness that is featured on the internet, don't buy into the fact that those people are 100% motivated every day, because they're not. But there's a difference in being motivated and being dedicated. There are days where I have no motivation to go out to this garage gym and go do power cleans because they're very boring, and I hate push press because I'm bad at it, and I didn't want to do that workout today. But my motivation comes from being dedicated to the end goal, which is performing well at nationals. And something I talk about with my clients is to not judge yourself when you're not motivated, because we're human beings and every day we're not going to be excited to do something that might seem tedious in the moment. But if you have that dedication towards the big picture, that is going to make a difference in your day-to-day like willingness to do the work. And I think that's a bigger factor more so than being quote-unquote motivated. Maybe that's just my opinion, because some days I feel like super excited to go do weightlifting, because I honestly love weightlifting. It's a sport that has my heart, and I very much enjoy it. But that doesn't mean every day I want to do it, if that makes sense. But I do want to be a good weightlifter. So sometimes that bigger picture influences the small scale more often than just like feeling motivated on the day-to-day to go crush things. And also some workouts are just boring and nobody really likes doing volume push press. That's also just my opinion. I truly hope that was helpful and that I gave you guys some maybe tips or just some insight, or maybe even just thinking about things a little bit differently. If you did enjoy it, please let me know below, because this was kind of getting out of my comfort zone and letting you guys into my head a bit more. And please let me know if you liked it. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be getting to more of these video requests in the coming weeks. And we're about 6 weeks out from nationals, so it's meet prep time in full force. And we are on the road to Kansas City. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.